Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah al-Kareem. Alhamdulillah, and welcome back to another episode of Life's Adornments, where we're talking about child rearing, its virtues, its benefits, its ups and downs, and how do we raise our children in a way that is according to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To help us with these matters, we have Sheikh Assim al Hakeem, who is a teacher at Zad Academy and KIU, and an imam and teacher for over 30 years. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, so we are talking about tarbiyah khuluqiyah and the imperative and the essentialness of having children that are raised with the moral conduct that is in accordance to the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Allah sent him as a guide and as a sort of an idea, an ideal of what a person, a human being should be. So we want to talk about appearance. Many times you see in the youth today, especially the young people growing up today, they don't really put a lot of effort in their appearance. When I was growing up, my mother would say, dress how you would like to be addressed. She would make sure I put emphasis in combing my hair and brushing my teeth and things of this nature, as we see within the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how significant is it for a person to grow up and be conscious of how they carry themselves?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbihi. وَمَنْ اهْتَدَى بِهُدَاهُ أَمَّا بَعْدُ. Your mother's advice surely paid off. MashaAllah, every time you get this stylish kind of clothes and colors, and it's really working really hard. You're compiling me to address you nicely because you're dressed nicely. But on a serious point, Islam places a great value over how you look, because it is part of your identity. So part of my identity as a Muslim is to be recognized wherever I am. So if you see me like this, you know this is Sheikh Assim. If you see me wearing a t-shirt and jeans, you still know me and acknowledge that this is a Muslim. Even if I'm in Siberia or in somewhere else, because the way we look is a representation of our identity. For a woman, her hijab is identity. So whenever you see a hijabi woman, you would not say that this is a Christian, a Jew, a Hindu, a Buddhist. Immediately you recognize her as a Muslim. Likewise, when you see a Muslim male, so yeah, we have long beards, but other denominations have long beards as well. Yeah, but they don't have trimmed mustaches. So even if I'm wearing a turban, you won't say that I'm a Sikh or a Hindu or whatever, because you can tell that this is a Muslim. You can identify me from my fingernails. I don't have long fingernails. Why is that? Because Islam tells me to clip my fingers and not to have them long. And it sets a limit and a time frame for that. Internally, which is not your appearance, but even internally, we have to have a certain process that ensures our internal hygiene.
Yes.
So we pluck the armpit hair, which is the cause of bacteria and odor, and we are told in order to shave our pubic hair. This comes only in Islam.
Yeah, strange to other people.
They wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
And so many times you've seen in movies and even on beaches or in swimming pools, men raise their hands and you see like the jungles of Africa and chimpanzees moving from one tree. What is this, akhi, under your arm? And the odor, man, people have odor. These guys have oh dear. It is so awful because they don't clean themselves. Islam tells the children from a very young age, nope, this is what is part of our religion. It does not only stop here. Identity goes on. So when it comes for your haircut, Islam tells us, and this was done by the Prophet ﷺ when he saw a young child, a young boy, having these weird haircuts, like the Marine Corps, for example, when they shave almost the side of the head and keep the top. So it's not what do you call it?
Fade?
Not like Mr. T's
mohawk.
Mohawk.
Yeah.
See, I always say tomahawk. It's like, oh, this is a rocket. No,
Yeah.
The mohawk. No, it's not the same, but a lot of the Muslims do this. You've seen a lot of Muslims just shaving this and keeping the top.
Now, can I stop there for
Yeah,
clarification? We were taught, because many times there's like certain haircuts that we have, and they get on the youth a lot about saying that this is qaza. So there's a bit of confusion. And one of the scholars said that what the Prophet ﷺ was referring to was a tradition that was with Christian monks, where they would have a specific haircut that was unique to them. And when you saw it, you recognized that within them, and you knew that this was something that represented their aqidah. So is the illah here still, or the reasoning behind it, is it still significant today?
This reasoning is significant when backed by evidence. Now, if you trace what this so-called alim said in the books of fiqh or in the interpretation explanations of the hadith, you will never find a sahabi saying this or a tabi'i saying this. Okay, with all due respect, where did you get this from? It is exactly like the fables and stories which some of the followers, the blind followers, I would say, of schools of thought, tend to justify other schools of thought's actions. So for example, we know that the sunnah is to raise your hand in takbir when you're going for ruku' and when you're lifting up from or rising up from ruku'. Some schools of thought say that this is not permissible. You only raise your hand in the beginning takbir, and that is it. These imbeciles, they justify to their followers that, what the other schools of thought are doing used to be done at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in the beginning, but it was abrogated. Seriously? I said, Why then? They said, because the Prophet ﷺ wanted to make sure that they don't have any idols on their armpit. So that when they say Allahu Akbar, it falls down, so that their prayer is fixed. Are you serious?
This is the opinion of Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik about.
I didn't want to mention this
so.
Names. It's not the opinion of Abu Hanifa or Imam Malik. This is the opinion of the blind followers who came afterwards, because Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik are far greater than to make up such stories that are blatant lies.
They're not about the stories, I meant the position about the...
Yeah, the position.
Yeah.
But the followers of their schools, who are blind followers, who neglect the authentic sunnah, they make up stories like this. So therefore, anyone saying that qaza' means that the monks who used to do this, blah, 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 bring us your evidence. The word Arabic qaza' is understood. And the Prophet ﷺ explained in the hadith, he said, either grow it all or shave it all. He didn't say, do not imitate the Christians, the monks, the Jews. No. He simply said, either shave it all or keep it all. So this is the reasoning that I, as a Muslim, need. But to come up with a story that the monks of so-and-so country or so-so religion used to do this and the Prophet crossed it, ﷺ, it requires evidence. So we have to teach our children this fact. We have to teach our children that it is not permissible to imitate women, and that Allah has cursed male or men who imitate women and cursed women who imitate men. And from an early age, when we teach them this, we ensure that the children grow naturally, unchanged. So no one of them would have inclination towards homosexuality or being gay or something like that, which is influenced mainly by the society, by the media. When we upbring our children to understand this, we ensure that they are growing up naturally. The things that they wear also has or have an impact on their personality and on their identity. And you would be surprised. Usama ibn Zayd, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father,
Amen.
was the love of the Prophet ﷺ and the son of the love of the Prophet ﷺ, because the Prophet loved them both. And we talked about this before. So Hakim ibn Hizam, who was the nephew of Khadija bint Khuwaylid, may Allah be pleased with her, the mother of the believers, he saw in the market the garments of the king of Yemen, known as the Yazin. So he bought it, which was really fancy. You know, imagine the garment of a king. How would that be? So he bought it, paid a lot for it, and came to the Prophet ﷺ and gave it to him. We know that the Prophet ﷺ did not seek dunya and the pleasures of the dunya. So he took it, accepted the gift, and gave it to Usama ibn Zayd ibn Haritha. Usama put it on. Now remember, Usama was black and his father was white. So he wore this and went out. And accidentally, he met Hakim. So Hakim said to this young boy in his teens, wearing the garment of the king of Yemen, he said, "Are you wearing the garment of king of Yemen?" What did Usama answer? Any one of us would have apologized. I'm sorry, the Prophet gave that to me. I didn't know it was the king's garment. The pride and honor and dignity of a Muslim. Usama said, yes, I'm wearing the garment of the king of Yemen. I am better than him.
Allah.
And my father is better than his father.
MashaAllah.
This is Iman. Because the Yazan was a kafir, his father was a kafir. So once you put this in our children, they grow up to be mountains. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited us from imitating the disbelievers. The story of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As wearing the garments that were dyed in saffron, and how the Prophet told him, did your mother order you to do this? And he acknowledged his mistake and said, okay, should I wash them? And the Prophet said, no, burn them. This shows us that we have to have our identity and not to imitate the disbelievers in what they do.
Okay, thank you so much for that amazing story. It also instills like an idea of having self-identity, having self-respect, and knowing who you are as an individual. He's very young, but mashallah, he stood for something. So I think this goes upon the tarbiyah as well.
Correct.
So we're going to pause for a short break, inshallah, and then we're going to come back to talking about the appearances and the etiquette of appearance and the way we dress and the way we carry ourselves as Muslims, as young children, and giving them tarbiyah. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back to our second segment of Life's Adornments, where we're discussing in this episode the Sunnah, the etiquettes of appearances. We know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, Khairul libas, libas taqwa, that the best dress is the dress of taqwa. So I would like to discuss with you, Sheikh, what does it mean to be dressed according to taqwa, to have righteous dress? I remember my first time going to Saudi, I was so excited to go in the airport. I had on like a jalabiyah or a thobe from Morocco. I had on my imama from Saudi, my kufi from Oman, you know, just a whole mix of culture. And when people asked me, why are you dressing like this? I was like, this is the Sunnah. And they were laughing at me. So I was like really confused. But then when I got there, I saw young people. I remember it blew my mind, a young man in front of the haram, and he had on a t-shirt with a wrapper and a chain and like some skinny jeans and Jordans. And I was blown away. You know, we were trying to be like them and they were trying to be like us in the West. So how do we navigate this in terms of the etiquette of appearances?
With the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, that Allah did not dictate upon us to wear a certain set of clothes.
Yes.
Yet, Allah Azza wa Jal had given us broad instructions and commands. If you follow them, then you are safe. So, one, you should not wear tights that reveals your awrah. You
This
can
is for
wear
men and women.
men and women. You
Yes.
can wear skinny jeans that shows your awrah, but in men it's lesser in gravity than in women. You should not wear see-through, because then your prayer is not going to be accepted. You must not imitate the disbelievers, and you must not imitate the opposite gender, and you must not wear something that the material itself is haram, such as silk for men or gold. Other than that, you may say that the sky is the limit. Now, when it comes to the issue of a dress code that is sunnah, the word sunnah is divided into two types. Sunnah of culture and sunnah of worship. So, sunnah of worship is the way of the Prophet ﷺ, whether it's mandatory or recommended. So, having a beard is a sunnah, but it is a mandatory sunnah, meaning if you shave it, you're sinful. If you keep it, you're rewarded. Praying 2 rak'ahs after dhuhr is a sunnah of worship, which the Prophet used to do, alayhi salatu wasalam. You do it, you're rewarded. You don't do it, there's no sin on you. Entering the masjid with your right foot and leaving it with your left foot, this is part of the sunnah, etc. When we go to cultural things, this is not something of the sunnah. For an example, the Prophet used to travel from one place to the other within Medina on his mule. So if someone wants to go to work 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning and he rides his mule to work, he said, "Whoa, what are you doing, man?" He said, "I'm doing the sunnah." I said, "Hey, hold your horses." Well, actually, hold your mule. You don't have a horse. So this is not sunnah, this is cultural. When a person says, "I have to eat on the floor." Why? Because the Prophet always ate on the floor, and he used 3 fingers to eat with. I said, yeah, but you can use a fork, you can use a spoon, and you can eat on a table. There's no prohibition. Whatever the Prophet had done was out of culture. If a person does not want to wear a turban, though the Arabs, including the Prophet ﷺ, used to do that, there's no problem in that, because this was their attire. So you don't have to look part of the people of the medievals in order to be called as wearing the sunnah. Now, for those in the West, a lot of the reverts, a lot of the Muslims may wear Arab clothes, like the one I'm wearing now. And they consider it to be following the sunnah? The answer is no. It might be part of expressing your identity as a Muslim. This is debatable. But generally speaking, it is an eye catcher, it is attracting attention, and it may fall under the libasu shuhra, the garment of fame, which the Prophet told us that it is prohibited. What is a garment of fame? It is wearing something or doing something that people point out at you, and it making you stand in a crowd. So for example, normal cars, normal colors. If I have money and I buy a car and I paint it in pink, this is libas al-shuhra, because nobody rides a pink car. So standing alone, on your own, and people pointing at you, you're seeking people's attention. Likewise, if someone wears his thobe really short, and I mean like 4 fingers or 8 fingers below the knee. Okay, this is sunnah to have 8 fingers below the knee, because this is the way the Prophet used to wear it, alayhi salam. Nowadays, in today's communities and societies, when people see you doing this,
Strange.
if you are doing it for the sake of Allah, this is between you and Allah. Most likely, people are doing it to draw attention. Look at me, I'm Sandredi. Look at me, I am someone who's following the Sunnah, I am strong, I'm this, I'm that. Where actually most people who do it is to draw attention. This is haram. So, what is your recommendation, Sheikh, for someone who's a revert or a student of knowledge or a Muslim living in the West? Akhi, when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, if I know my community, that when I come like this, though I'm their local, they're my homies, and if I go to the minbar and give my khutbah like this, they will resent me. They say, this guy is a Saudi, this guy is from the Gulf, this guy is a Wahhabi, this guy is so and so.
It's foreign to us. It's something that
if they would not accept it, if they resent it, then you should not do that. Put on your suit. I have no problem in wearing suits. And if you want to put a tie, there's no problem in wearing a tie. And give your khutbah. There's no problem in that. It depends on the community. See, it's pros and cons. What we're looking for is the benefit. So how can I benefit the people in this? Now, having said that, we have to have our identity. A lot of the Muslims wear them low-waist pants. So, what is this? I can see your boxers. Why is it so low? Said, well, this is what every young man is wearing. No, this is inappropriate. If you wear these bling blings and chains and bracelets and probably put an earring and say this is what the community is doing, so this is haram. If I see you, I would not say that this guy is a Muslim. What you're doing is imitating the kuffar. What you're doing is imitating the women or the opposite gender. And likewise, the opposite. When a girl dresses up like a man with a suit which is for men, designed for men, and she cuts her hair exactly like a boy, this is totally, she's cursed by Allah Azza wa Jal for that. So, Islam, yes, it did not tell us that this is, quote unquote, a sunnah attire, but it tells us what is not permissible in Islam. And other than what is not permissible in Islam, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, and that is a very crucial point. It goes to finding the Islamic identity as well. I remember before I came to Egypt, I was working for a job, and I had this guy who was an ex-military or police officer, and he hated Muslims. Like every day I would come to work, and he would have something awful to say about Islam and Muslims every single day. But he never knew I was Muslim. I would go pray by myself. I wouldn't push Islam on him. And then one day, well, the last day when I was leaving, when I decided to leave and come and study, they had a gathering for me, and my mother came. And when he saw my mother in hijab, he said, "You're a Muslim?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Muslim." And he said, "This whole time you allowed me to talk bad and say all these awful things, and you never said anything to me." I said, "No, everybody's entitled to their opinion." He said, "Wallah," he said, "Well, I swear, if I knew that you were Muslim, I would have embraced whatever religion that you were on." And even sometimes he would see me reading the Quran, and he would think it's Hebrew or what, I don't know what he thought I was. But, he just, so because of that, even to this day, he follows me on social media and he likes the posts, and he really has a love in his heart for Islam. But if I came with a thobe and, right away he would have denied me.
And we've seen on videotape, video clips and YouTube and social media, how people out of the blue attack pregnant women in hijab.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And batter them and rampage them and punch them like a punching bag.
Yeah.
So there are many haters out there. Why draw attention to yourself? Yeah, you want to say you're a Muslim? Allah says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. That there is no one better in rhetoric than a person who does righteous deeds and proclaims and announces that he is a Muslim.
Yes.
This is announcement by itself is through your action, through your good conduct, through your good manners. And this is more important than wearing something that the moment you walk in, people would say, oh, he's a terrorist, or we're afraid of what he's wearing. Because this defies the purpose of getting people around you.
Yeah, but you mentioned also a crucial point. For many of the sisters in the West say that for you men, you guys can hide your Islam. You could go on, people won't even know that you're Muslim. But for us, our Islam is like, it's clear, is a clear indication. And even my sister-in-law the other day, she went to work because she wears niqab, and the people started, we know with the issues within, that's happening now between America. They said that, who knows, you may come into work with a bomb now. This happened just like a few days ago. So for the women, they don't really have the option of that.
Well, women's test is far greater than men.
Nice.
It's true. But at the end of the day, the default is for a woman to stay in her home, in the safety of her kingdom. And she's not required, she's not asked to go and work. It's the man's responsibility to provide for her. So generally speaking, she's not meeting so many problems like a Muslim man would, generally speaking. But again, this is her test from Allah.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Thank you so much for your wisdom and knowledge. This has been a very beneficial episode. We're going to end here. And until next time, inshallah, on Nice Adornments. Thank you, viewers, for always tuning in with us. We hope that you benefit from what we share today and can put into practice the things that you learn. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and increase you. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.